Hello, hello, welcome. This is Rebecca Jane from Yoga with Rebecca Jane. And here we are on our fourth class for regarding our sacral chakra, so concentrating on that. So we're almost to the end, one more class. And this class is going to be, it's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. I'm going to be combining a combination of the idea of the element of water, which is the sacral chakra, and then also the element of the earth, which is the root chakra. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take you on a real slow moving yoga practice where we're going to concentrate on the idea of, there's lots of ideas in this class, but specifically the idea of our bodies, rather than tensing when we're sitting or we're in a posture, that we're actually, instead of tensing, you'll get the idea after a while, it will make sense. It's hard to understand it unless you actually physically feel it. But think about lifting up as opposed to tensing. So when you were sitting in our seat and we're rooting down with our sit bones and we're getting ourselves settled in, the idea of just lifting rather than tensing and getting really rigid, there's a fine line between the two. And the reason why why that's so important is because what happens is as soon as we tense, we lose the calmness of our yoga practice. We start to go into more of a stressful situation, and we don't need it. We don't want that in our yoga practice. So when we're in any kind of posture, especially a balancing standing posture, we don't want to tense, because then that makes us less likely to stay standing. We'll fall over or wobble a lot. The combination of being solid earth and fluidity, which is the water. So simply those two things coming together and joining, solid and then fluidity. The two go hand in hand. We're also at the base, with the bottom of our chakras. So we're connected to the earth, we're connected to the water. We're animals. Our nature is to survive. Not necessarily, and it also is to be spiritual as well. But in order to live, to survive, we have to start at the bottom, and then we get that all sorted out and we work our way up. These are the two important first two that we get in sync with each other too. So we're going to do some the mantra for today is dare to be slow. And the reason for it to be slow is so that we can pay attention to all the subtleties of what's going on in our bodies, as opposed to always thinking about what we might look like from the outside. But how do we feel inside? So very interesting class. One of the most powerful muscle strengtheners that you'll experience in a while, just because we're holding and we're doing things extra slow. So let's actually start on our backs in our Shavasana. So Shavasana, if you're new to yoga, is where you're on your back, and this is done at the end of a practice, but we're doing it now at the beginning. So we can switch it up, not a problem. Your legs are as wide, your feet are as wide as the mat. The feet open up, let the arms rest a few inches from your body, palms facing up. And if you'd like, you could always place your hands on your rib cage and begin to feel into the breath as you breathe into the rib cage. In yoga, we breathe into the rib cage. And we breathe out, we draw up through the pelvic floor as if we're zipping up tight pants or trousers, and pull the belly in. And then we take another breath in, feel that rib cage expand.
And feel free to close your eyes for most of this class, unless you have to peek at me and see what I'm doing. I will try and make it as clear as possible. So let's breathe in to the rib cage. And then as you exhale, there's a drawing up through the pelvic floor, pulling the belly in, and let the body melt into the mat. Now we're concentrating on our hips today, again, the week, the hips. Take your feet and bring them about hip distance, or you could almost touch them. And imagine that you're standing on the ground with the feet flexed, and reach your arms back behind you, stretch. Take a deep breath in and feel the body lengthening, not tensing, but lengthening. So the legs lengthen down and the arms lengthen up. And then from here, float the arms next to the sides. Keep your legs as they are just for a moment. Now, from here, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, just slide your right leg. That's the only thing that's moving towards your pelvis, as placing the foot flat on the ground, the right foot on the ground, the knee pointing up. Then take an inhale and exhale. Let the knee open out to the side like a butterfly wing, half a butterfly wing. And we're doing this slow. Inhale the knee back up, so dare to be slow. Lower back into the ground. Exhale your that right knee, butterfly wing, over to the left, as if you're trying to touch something on the outside of the left side of your body with your knee. And you're coming off of that right sit bone. So you're on the side, you're almost rolling over, but you're not. And just turn your gaze towards your left shoulder. So you're looking towards that knee with the eyes closed if possible. Then take an inhale, and as you exhale, pick your right knee, bring your right knee up. So just keep your foot flat on the ground. And then slide that right leg back to meet your left leg, so back to the straight position. So the arms are slightly out to the sides or out like airplane wings. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, press your lower back into the ground and slide your left foot as close to your pubic bone or your groin as much as possible. Flatten out that left foot. And then take an inhale and exhale. Let the left knee open out slowly. So working our joints, our hip joints, lubricating them. And then take an inhale, and as you exhale, lift your knee back up so that it's pointing towards the ceiling. And then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, let the left knee drop over to the right. Take your time here. Coming off that left sit bone, and not all the way onto the right hip, but partially. And bring your gaze down towards your right shoulder. And breathe in. So this one is extremely gentle on the hip joints. Very good for all people, for all different issues or non-issues in their hips. Come onto your back again. Keep your left knee pointed. And breathe in, and as you breathe out, slide that left leg back next to your right. And then take a breath in, reach your arms back again. Just bring them back first, then lengthen. Feel tall, starting from the navel, you reach up, lift up, and then lift down. I'm going to say lift down towards the feet. And then take an inhale, and then exhale, float the hands back next to the sides, maybe a little bit out like airplane wings, and bring your feet, both feet, in towards your bottom, flat feet. Heel toe those feet so the inner edges are touching. Knees are knocking. Breathing so the legs are together. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, I want you to slowly lower the knees open. So this is a butterfly wings opening, but you're doing it extra, 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 extra slow. Picking up on all the subtleties of what's happening in your body. And also noticing, is this difficult to be slow? Do you want your butterfly wings to go fast or move faster? Just notice that. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, press your lower back into the ground and let your knees slowly, slowly, slowly come together. So I'm somebody who likes to move fast. I'm changing, but I do. Let's do that one more time. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, press your lower back into the ground and let the knees gently open, slowly open, being extra nurturing and kind to these hips. So if you are, as most of us are in this fast-paced culture, we want to speed everything up. It's almost like we're addicted to it. We are addicted. Take an inhale. And use your exhalation, press your lower back into the ground, and then gently bring your knees towards each other, as if there's a magnet. There's a magnet on each knee, or inner knee, and it's being drawn together, but really slow. And then let's take the knees and hug them into your chest just for a moment. Chin slightly tucked. Let's do a few gentle circles to the right. Make them slow too. So what's the purpose of slow? Well, our nervous system is always on alert when your life is fast. And then let's come back to center, hug your knees, and let's go in the other direction, circle them around to the left. So what it means is when something big happens or something pretty stressful, you're already on alert, so the alert goes up almost to a red alert, maybe to red alert. We want to start off in blue alert or green alert, whatever color the calm alert is. So so when you go up, you go only up a little higher. You don't immediately jump to the most intense, stressful feeling. Your nervous system is in a calm place. So, let's bring the knees together, feet flat on the ground again. Your butterfly wings have closed. Now we're going to take a breath in and we're going to reopen those knees. This is called Baddha Konasana. We are working our muscles, believe it or not. Press the feet into one another and the knees are open. Now take your hands behind your head and let the elbows open just like the wings of your legs. Now take an inhale, and I want you to slowly bring the legs together and the elbows towards each other. And you're lifting your head and shoulders off the ground, so your elbows are squeezing towards your temples. And then you're going to get to the top, and elbows reach towards the ceiling. Legs squeeze towards each other. Tummy work here. Then inhale, then take an inhale at the top, then exhale. That's slowly lower down, opening the legs and gently opening the elbows. The same pace for both. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, and finally release. And then we'll do that one more time. Take an inhale. And use your exhalation to bring your elbows, your elbow wings, and your knee wings slowly together, or your knee wings. And then slowly, 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 slowly. And once they're closed, you can't go any further. Reach your elbows towards the ceiling as you look towards your tummy, but you can keep your eyes closed. And that's just gently lower our head back down. As we lower down, open up the elbows, open up the knees. And then release, once you're all the way down, release the hands from behind the head and take your hands to the outside of those legs and help your legs together this time. And then hug your knees into your chest. Woo. Back. Lower back work, inner thigh work, hip work, tummy work. Come onto your right side and then help yourself up and swing around onto your hands and knees. So once on your hands and knees, let's press back into your child's pose. Stretch through those fingers. Dare to be slow. Keep going slow, 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 slow. Forehead resting on the ground. Take a breath in. And take a breath out. And now we're going to take a breath in and we're going to slowly slide your hands. We usually do this pretty fast. We're going to slide our hands towards our knees. Pull the belly in and up towards the spine. Once the hands touch the knees, slowly, slowly slide the hands up the knees, up the thighs. Unfurl your spine one vertebra at a time, until finally the crown of the head eventually lifts up. Your hands are sliding, sliding, sliding until they touch your hips or the creases of your hips. Then take a breath in. And then as you breathe out, slide the hands back down, roll back down, chin towards chest. So you're refolding yourself. Just think of yourself as a fern that opens, in the morning, or unfurls as it grows, and slowly lower yourself back down, sliding your hands forward. So this is different, but different is good, or else we end up doing the same thing. Forehead resting on the ground. We're working different parts of our body and learning about our bodies. Take a breath in. And we're going to do that one more time. Slide the hands slowly, 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 slowly towards the knees. Keep your spine rounded. The belly has hollowed in. You're hollowing out the belly. And then once the hands touch the knees, start unfurling a little bit more. Unfurl, unfurl. Keep sliding. Chin is the very last to come up. The head's the very last to come up. Slide the hands to your thighs. This time just keep your hands at the center of your thighs and take a pause here. Let's breathe in and breathe out. So taking that nervous system down a few notches, turning the volume down. So when you get on with your day or whatever part of the day, you are ready, more than ready, to handle pretty much anything. Let's take a breath in. This time you've simply come into your tabletop. And then curl the toes under, exhale into your downward dogs. Or you can do an extended child's pose, which means your knees are on the ground and you're pressing back with your toes curled under. But if you're in your downward dog, or either or, I want you to explore this without needing to do anything fast, even though your body's or your mind is going, go, go, come on, let's speed up here. It might be, I'm assuming that you're feeling that way. But if you're not, you're way ahead of most of us. If your body's saying, I need to speed up, say, slow down. I'm daring you to slow down. And from this downward dog, feel first the ground underneath you, earth. Remember, earth. Feet and hands are on the earth. And then as you're going to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, the tailbone lifts up as if there's a string attached to your tailbone. You're a puppet, a marionette, and you're being pulled up, but then you're going to press down simultaneously as the puppeteer pulls you up. And this is amazing stuff, because you're creating this space in your body that most of us never experience. We're always just a big clunky, unless we're a dancer, but most of us are not dancers. So take a breath in, and then hinge forward, come towards your plank. You can always lower the knees down at any point, but I want you to just take your tailbone as if keep the tailbone lifted, so come into a cow shape. As if there's the string is still attached to your tailbone and it's being lifted up. And as it lifts up, you're pushing through those hands. Make sure the wrists are stacked underneath the shoulders, that wouldn't work. And then keep going. And then lower Take your tailbone and extend it down as now your tailbone is being pulled down towards your heels. Whew. Hold. You should feel the power of this plank. The crown of the head reaches forward and the heels reach back. That's lifting. And then lower the knees to the ground. Press back into a child's pose. Let's just take a pause here. Take a breath in. Let's come onto our bellies. All the way down. Make a pillow with your arms so the elbows are your forearms are in a parallel to the front of the mat. Forehead resting on your hands. Now, legs are hip distance apart. Curl the toes under. And then lift your knees off the ground. Bring your toes a little bit closer in towards the knees. That means just curling the toes under. And I want you to take a breath in and lift your head up, pushing into those arms. Keep lifting. You're coming into a cobra shape, even though your arms are not in the exact, they're not forward, they're actually underneath you, your hands. And you're lifting up, but as you lift up, press your heels back. Crown of the head lifts. Feel the tightness in those bottoms and then just lower down. We'll do one more. Lower down. Take your time. Let the knees just settle down to the ground. Keep the toes curled under. And then take a breath in. And as you breathe out, let's do this one more time. Lift, 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 lift. Lift the knees off the ground. And then press the heels back. Adjust the feet. And then lift your forehead, pushing into those arms. So lots of strengthening this class, this practice. Working muscles that you might not have thought about that you even had. And then lower back down. And then release the tops, place the tops of the feet on the ground. And let's press back into your child's pose. Take a pause. Take a breath in and take a breath out. So this is a practice, this is called subtle, it's a somatic type of yoga class where you're looking at the subtleties of your practice. So it's subtle yoga. The nuances in your body that you can't always experience when you're going fast. Let's come into our tabletop, curl the toes under, and let's walk our feet to the front of the mat. Once we get to the front of the mat, let's root down with the feet, inner edges as well, outer edges, all four corners of your feet. Let yourself fold forward and then take an inhale, slide the hands up the shins or on a blocks and lift up slowly. So this is we're still in slow motion here. Lift up, feel every muscle working as you inhale. Then exhale, hollow out that belly and then lower down, but keep the lengthening of the crown of the head. Keep lengthening the tailbone up to the sky. Drop your head. No tension in that neck. Inhaling, let's do that again. Lift up. Oh, you should feel the muscles working in your back, your glute muscles, and then exhale, lower down. And then take a breath in. This time, I want you to lift up halfway. If you have back issues, you're going to pull the belly in and round up, just like we did when we were on our hands and knees. Otherwise, take your hands, slide them into your hip creases and lift yourself all the way up to standing. So you might feel extra tall after this class, as if you've grown an inch or so or half an inch. Stand up nice and tall, bring your hands to your heart. Pressing into the ground with all four corners, and remember about lifting up and lifting down. So no tension, lift. Now we're going to open our eyes if we've closed them, and we're going to bring our right foot inside our left
shin, or our left calf, or inside that left thigh, coming into our tree. We're all prepared for this because we did this on the ground. You can place a hand on a wall. So what's different about this from our other trees is we're thinking about lifting, squeezing the bottom cheeks, growing, 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 hands to heart. Or if you need support, put a hand on a wall. Squeeze to the midline of the body, which means bottom cheeks. Everything's coming into the center. You're looking down to something that's not moving. Now, if you feel at ease, you can bring the gaze slightly up and make sure you can kind of see what's going on outside your peripheral vision. Just keep, and then maybe the arms reach up. Keep growing, keep growing, keep growing. So if you're going to fall upwards, this is what I was watching this teacher. He said, fall upwards. I'm like, how does that work? And then lower your right foot down. So just do a little bit of a movement from side to side. So what we're doing is we're taking our bodies and we're stretching them out, but without the tension involved. That turns on the stress response. We don't want that. We want calm, we want to be cool. We want to go about life a little bit more, a little bit more open and relaxed so that we can enjoy our lives. So the left foot, you decide. Where does it go? Anywhere but the knee. You can bring it right inside that right thigh or down below the knee, hands to heart. Squeeze those bottom cheeks. Think about lifting up, looking to the ground at something that's not moving. And once you find that spot and you've found your balance, kind of let the peripheral vision join in. So what do you see about 180 degrees? And then maybe reach your arms up, either hands in front or hands up. And then feel that length of growing, of lifting. I'm lifting up. Not tensing, but lifting. Eventually that will make a sense to you. It might make no sense at this point because tension sometimes feels the same as lengthening, but it isn't. It's different. So just little movements, little wonderful sways, loosening up that body. Think about water, being fluid, not rigid. Come back to the front of the mat. If you've left the front of the mat, let's sweep your arms up to the sky. And let's exhale, forward fold. Let's inhale halfway. This time we're going a little bit faster. Step back into our kind of probably normal way I teach my classes. Lower the knees down. Come onto your right hip and swing your legs forward. This is a little bit like a Pilates kind of pace class. Let's lower yourself down. So you're concentrating more on the core strength. So once you're on your back, then you're concentrating on any stretching or anything. It's more about strengthening. Hug your knees into your chest. And then place your feet flat on the ground. Open the feet as wide as the mat, arms out to the sides. Drop your knees to the left. So a very gentle twist here, unless you want to come into a more traditional spinal twist with the knees higher up. Otherwise, just stay here. And notice if toward the end you feel like, oh, I have to get going. No, no, no. This is your practice. Take this time for yourself. Hug your knees into your chest. Keep that whole idea, dare to be slow. You know what? Life is precious. Take your feet flat back on the ground and drop your knees to the right. Turn your gaze to the left. If we're speeding our life away, what's the purpose? It's a waste. Enjoy it as much as possible.
enjoy the fruits, the nectar of our lives. Even the things that aren't so wonderful or painful, but they're part of our life. So bring your knees up. So this is what this is all about, the nectar, the sweetness, that's, which includes everything. Hug your knees into your chest, and let's get our bodies in the shape for our Shavasana. Back to where we started the practice. Let the arms rest to the sides, let your eyes close, and maybe lift your back up for a moment, slide your shoulder blades down, and let yourself soften into the mat. Returning to that concept of earth and water. We're water. Earth is water. Earth is filled with water. We know that. Majority of the earth is water, as is our bodies. There's no difference. We're all the same. We're connected we're connected because we are the earth, we are the water. Let everything go. And taking 2 to 5 minutes to just rest here. And when you do finally come out, you come over to your right side and come up slowly. First pausing in a fetal shape. And I will come up to seal the practice for this 4th session. We have one more to go in this sacral chakra theme. And then we move on to a solar plexus, which is a little bit more fiery. But this is water, this is fluid, this is lovely, gentle, kind. As I bring my hands in front of my heart to seal the practice for this session, for this 4th class, just taking a pause. So taking this practice with you so that you benefit, but all beings benefit. Have a lovely rest of the day, or if it's evening, have a great sleep and rest of the evening. This is Rebecca Jane from Yoga with Rebecca Jane. Thank you so much. Namaste. I'll see you soon.